What is one thing that we have all seen people complain about for years and years and years? Representation. And I've said representation could be a good thing done right. And over these past few months and few years, people have seen representation done absolutely wrong, to the point where if you criticize it, somebody's going to make a really, really garbage song and do a really, 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 really stupid dance to it. Well, specifically speaking towards the gaming aspect of it, I've seen bits and pieces of representation that has been good and has not been good. For every good piece of representation, there's a bad piece of representation, whether it has to do with the story or the presentation of the character. Well, a game artist decided to shake up a little bit of the conversation by giving his own experience in dealing with such a thing. There has been a handful of times I've pitched black woman characters that look like this, and for anybody who wonders what the person in description looks like, very beautiful individual, I would say so. Then, after 10 iterations, the concept or motto comes back without a speck of the original beauty I had pitched. I'm not talking about mild changes. I'm talking about pose, aura, style, softness, age, flair. I hate giving Gamergate men fuel. Let's stop right there. Stop making it seem like you gotta tiptoe everywhere like you on a minefield. If you work in the field and you have a gripe, don't sit here and act as if your gripe is something you should be ashamed of because other people hold the same opinions. Some of these dudes don't know how to form those opinions. They make it seem like they just horny and they want to jerk it off to a character. They don't know how to articulate their points. Stellar Blade and any issue that brought up did not sound rational. It sounded like a bunch of people pining to see some extra virtual titty, which didn't help them in the long run. It's very difficult to pitch beautiful or vain black women in games without them coming back looking like grocery store aunties. There's room for both. And I'll be honest, if this is a concept that he came up with and he based it around this beautiful individual and it came back looking like me with purple glasses, yeah, I would be a little bit miffed too, especially if I were a black woman. The most disrespected group in American history. There's just one problem though. This conversation got a bunch of people talking because it's clearly somebody who works in that field. It's not some random person on Twitter. It's not a YouTuber. It's not me. It's not a Twitch streamer. It's somebody in that field issuing their gripes with such a thing. And what's so funny is that there was interesting conversation being had by a bunch of people up until it led to this from the same guy. After some private DMs today with other black devs, I will no longer be publicly discussing black representation in games for the foreseeable future. No more panels, articles, podcasts, nothing. This is not up for discussion, nor is it an invitation to try to change my mind. Cheers. And you know what? Fine. I'm not looking to change your mind, good buddy. I'm not looking to get you to start speaking more and more about something. You already said what you needed to say, and that was all that there was to it. Anybody trying to bully you to speak up more is not really caring. They just want you to say something so that they could feel good. But I'm taking everything you just said and I'm using it for my own purposes because representation has been something people have been talking about for years. They want more of it. They want to see themselves in all these different characters, right?
Let's normalize seeing black creators and especially black women creators outside of niches like beauty, fashion, and natural hair. Hear me out. It's not that those fields that I just mentioned aren't valuable. I myself watch a lot of makeup, fashion, lifestyle creators. I've also started uploading more short form content in this past year, experimenting with lifestyle and vlogs. So it's not like those types of content are bad, but just doing some reflecting, I noticed that one of the reasons I struggle to talk about my channel is because, for starters, I realized that many people, and especially if you're not an avid YouTube watcher, haven't heard of social commentary, video essays, political commentary, that sort of educational side of content creation. And there's also many misconceptions about being a gaming content creator. So a little bit of background on me, if you don't already know, I mainly make video essays, social commentary, commentary and gaming Let's Play content on YouTube. I focus on story-driven games that are approachable to people that may not consider themselves gamers. And I like to talk about social issues that are found in these types of stories. I genuinely believe that video games is an avenue for storytelling, just like movies and TV are. And I like to analyze different social themes in ways that these storytellings that occur in video games can apply to our real world. And so that was the inspiration for creating my channel. There's a lot of misconceptions about gaming content being for children, about gaming being a male-dominated space, or even a white-dominated space. A little asterisk on the white-dominated part. I feel like just like any other niche, if you're not looking for black creators, you're not gonna find us. At this point, as a consumer, I've made an effort to diversify my feed, and I follow mostly black women, but a lot of people from underrepresented groups. And so those types of creators are naturally being suggested to me by way of engaging with more diverse creators. So yes, black women make gaming related content. Just like movies, video games have ratings. Gaming content is not just for children. Black creators deserve to take up space in all niches. Amplify our voices in fields that you don't often see us amplified in, because our voices are just as important. We deserve to be recognized not only on the platforms we occupy, but also in black spaces as well, because black gaming creators tend to be forgotten at these types of events or functions. So just something to think about. Challenge what you think gaming content is and who gamers are. Challenging our biases only helps us create a more inclusive creator economy.
So when you have somebody trying to bring forth more representation in a more accurate way, and motherfuckers who they're working with are butchering their shit, that would be a reason to be pissed off. And let's work with the assumption, it is an assumption, that he tweeted all this, he aired out his grievances, and a bunch of people got in his ear saying, you can't be doing nothing like that. You can't be operating like this. You can't be sitting here saying all these things because you don't know what you talk about. You don't know how it feels. And you don't know all this. You know all this, that, blah, 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 blah. You are actively ruining it for more people who want to get into the field and bring forth more representation and bring forth more good-looking individuals. Because let's be honest, even though we are in a technologically advanced age where we could basically put our own skin cells in a fucking video game, these fucking characters look ugly as fuck. And it ain't because I want to jerk off to them. They just look ugly. And it's a shame because we've seen how far gaming has come. 2K fucking sucks. But if you go sit here and tell me it's cool to come up with a concept or have a base model that you want to base a character off, and you completely fuck that up, and you do not have it look at least somewhat similar to that based off concept, congratulations. You're going to have more people saying black women are ugly because this is how you present them in forms of entertainment. This shit not cool. This shit not inspiring. This is bullshit. And the fact that you got people who might, once again, assumption, cool little assumption, might be trying to silence other people who are trying to bring attention to this. Wow, what a way to fuck this up to the nth degree. What a way to just say, hey, we're comfortable looking like ugly pieces of shit in video games. We're comfortable not having more beautiful, attractive, badass characters in these games that could pick up guns, that could kick ass, that could do all this shit. We're comfortable just uglifying these characters and then somehow calling everybody racist for using their own two fucking eyes. Complete disservice to anybody who's trying to prevent this conversation from being had. And listen, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And what I may find ugly, you may find beautiful. And that is perfectly fine. It is all subjective opinions around here. But you can't ignore the two comparisons that I brought to you on the screen, because let's be perfectly crystal fucking meth clear. One of these is gorgeous. The other one is a complete uglification of the concept, and you can't convince me otherwise. And if you might try to, just know I'm not gonna buy that shit, because I am somebody who enjoys representation. Because as much as people want to act like there isn't, because they're focused on the cringy ass dancing of one very shitty person who's rich talking about oppression in 400 years, because clearly that was a good thing to do in response to people criticizing your dog shit TV show. There are good pieces of representation and I got all these different cast of characters. But when we sitting here trying to have conversation about how we're falling behind in the video game aspect, and people are trying to get people to shut up and not talk about it or be a little bit on the hush hush about it, congratulations, you setting motherfuckers back and you not helping advance it forward. Glad we could have this conversation. I'm going lay my hand in tomato sauce. Goodbye.